Hello, it's Alistair here again, professional developer, believe it or not. And today we're going to talk about arrays. Now, it's going to be the first in a series of videos about collections, but basically an array is a set or a collection of data. And we can make arrays with integers, with strings, with objects, which is something we're going to be touching on later. Um, But array is a really simple, memory efficient way to actually store a collection of data in one place. And the way we create an array, and in this case it's going to be string, but it's the same for int, so I'm going to be doing both. But a string array is we write string and then add this. We will call it my string array, and we're going to give it some values. Now we're going to place the values inside these brackets and separate them by commas. So I'm going to write some names: Jim, John, Albert, Sarah, and Jose. Yes. So now we have an array with 5 names in it. And the way we access the data now would be with accessing it with an index. So we have my string array, and the first spot in an array is always 0. Then it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. In this case we have 0 to 4. So let's say I want to write out Albert in the console. I would skip Jim and John and go to number 2. So if we run this now, you will see that it should write out Albert in the console. And it does. Lovely jubbly. Now let's say that we wanted to write out all the names. Now we have a good excuse for doing a for each. So a for each is also a loop, and let's do for each, and we know it's a string, and we will call it my string, why not, in my string array. So what we're doing now is iterating over all the names we have in our string array. And let's write out the names to the console. So console write line my string. For each iteration we are taking the next set of data in our array, putting it into my string, and then writing it out. So my string is going to be overwritten on each iteration, and the result is Jim, John, Albert, Sarah, Jose. So that's pretty easy, isn't it? Now we have options to add to an array, but the slots are assigned. So that is something that we're going to be talking into a little bit later. Now just to show, it works the exact same way with an int. We can go my int array, and of course now it's numbers that we need to pass, but still comma separated. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And right now the code is complaining, and that's because we need to add a semicolon. So we do basically the same thing. We will go for each int in, we call it my int in my int array, and console write line my int, and we will get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we will get Jim, John, Albert, Sarah, Jose. Easy, right? Cool. So yeah, that's it. That is how array works. Now there are a much more to it. We can add to the array. We can manipulate data in the array. Let's say that we wanted to make sure name number 5 should be uh, Josie instead. Yeah, let's do that. So we will do my string array. We need the index, and we know it's number 4 because we start with 0. We're going to set that value to be Josie instead. And let's just remove this because now it's just clutter. So we create the array. We are setting spot number 4 to be equal to Jose. We change our mind and change it to Josie. So now it should print out Josie in the last spot. And it does. So pretty straightforward, very easy. Next we will dive into dictionaries, which is a bit more complex, but it's what you would call a key value. So you can use the key to fetch the value. So it's a key value collection. And it looks like this. Dictionary, yeah. And we need to define a key and we need to define a value. Now the key, I'm going to let that be an int, and the value, I'm going to let that be a string. Now this is an object we are initializing. So let's call it people. And we're going to set that to be a new dictionary. Now notice that we have the parentheses at the end. This is because a dictionary is an object data type. So we need to initialize it, and some of them can be initialized with parameters, but not in this case. Anywho, so this is how we create a new dictionary. We need to remember these. It's the same when we create a list. I don't know if this can actually be simplified. Yes. So this is a simplification of a dictionary. We're going to keep it the way it was. Oh. Because it's more readable. So now we need to add something to our people. And we can actually do a for each to populate our dictionary. So we can go and use our array. So we can see, say, for each string in my string array, we will iterate through. Let's just remove this one, we don't need it anymore. And for each string we have, we're going to be adding a key and a value to our people dictionary. Now, we don't have an integer right now. So let's do a new variable called int index and set that to 0. And now we can start populating our dictionary. So what we will do is say people and add index plus 1 and my string. So we will add to index because the key needs to be unique in a dictionary, else it will fail miserably. And we're adding the key index, which is going to be 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. Actually, it's going to be 1 because we are adding 1 already. On the first iteration, we're going to add 1. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the name in my string. Now, this doesn't have to be unique. The value can be the same multiple times, but the key always have to be unique. Good. Let's try to iterate through our dictionary again with a for each. And then it's going to be a key value pair in people. Now, key value pair is simply. Why are you complaining? Yes, we need to specify the key and the value. So it's a key value pair of int and string, just like when we're declaring the dictionary. We say int and string. Now, key value pair is an object that contains the data in the dictionary, each row. So let's just iterate through it, and then we will do more cool stuff with it afterwards. So let's just console write line, and now we're going to do a little bit of a string manipulation. So we're going to say key, well, it's not manipulation, but key plus key value pair, our variable, and then the key. Then we're going to say value and key value, oh, not Lee, key value pair value. So this is what we're going to write out into the console. Now, in order to inject our variables into the string, we will end the string, add a plus, and then add a plus, and then start the string again. So it's kind of a puzzle piece. And you see, if I do this, I remove this, it's going to fail. So I need to say that I want the first string plus the key, then another string plus the value. Let's try to run this. So we have key 0, value Jim, key 1, value John, and so on and so on. That is pretty practical. We can also just write out, actually, nifty little thing, if you want to comment something out so the compiler will ignore it and the code won't be run, you go like this. Or you can comment out one line like this. Nifty. Doesn't really matter. But let's say we just want to write out one line. We can go key value pair int string key value pair equals people where, and this is a bit complex, but we will talk into this later. But basically what I'm saying, give me, let's say, John. And in the console, let's just do key value pair value. So the console should say value now. John. Perfect. It works. Now, what we're actually doing here is a little complex, but this right here is a link statement. It's a link syntax, and we're going to talk into link a little bit later. But for now, just know that this is a way to achieve one specific object out of a list of objects.